So please welcome Herman.
Thank you. Thank you, Valeria. Hello, good afternoon. I was wondering, you are, I'm from Belgium, and people say Belgians, well, a little bit retarded people in Belgium. But anyway, we are 1 hour more nearer to the future than you are. So believe me, I'm 1 hour living away from the United Kingdom in terms of the future. It's now here at 3:15. In Belgium, it's 4:15. So I can say to you what can happen within an hour, but I won't. I'm not a fortune teller. People think that I'm into predicting the future. I'm not capable to predict the future. There is future, of course, but it's a concept. So, and the best way to predict the future is to invent it, is to create it. But I'm not a fortune teller. People ask me, do you look into crystal balls? And I say, yes, I do, but only on a Friday evening when there is some gin and tonic inside. Then I'm looking into the crystal ball. So there is no way that I can tell you the truth about the future. But I can give you some guesstimates. You know, a guesstimate, which is a joint of a guess and an estimate, a mixture of a guess. A guess is your gut feeling, is your experience, is your intuition. If you combine that with an estimate, with estimations, with what scientists are saying, you have a guesstimation or a guesstimate. This is what we do in Belgium, but we work throughout Europe. For different kinds of sectors, for the financial sector, for the food and hospitality sector, for automotive, working on this. Today is the last day of a project I was working for the European Commission on the future of mobility. Also very interesting. But I'm not going to talk about the future of mobility to you. I'm going to talk about the future of people, of consumers, of you and me. But first, and I hope this works. Yeah, first, this may be some recognition for you. This is not your teenage sister or daughters or mother's bedroom on a Saturday morning. This is Europe. Maybe you've heard of Europe. This is Europe. Europe is indeed, it's wrinkled. So Europe has to be ironed. We know that. You know that. Europe has absolutely to be ironed. And I'm from Antwerp. Antwerp is my base. Beautiful medieval city. And I'm looking into the future, but I love the history. And in my medieval city, there is one beautiful cathedral. Cathedral is built in the 15th century. It is the highest religious building in the Benelux, you know, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg. And it's called the Notre Dame of Antwerp. And it was built in the 15th century. And why I'm saying this to you, it's very important. It's all about the mindset of thinking into the future like builders of cathedrals. And every 18 months we make a video clip, where we show some ideas about the future. It's a mood of the future clip. I'm going to show you the clip, and the clip has the title Cathedral Challenges. I'm going to explain that later on, but let's have a look. Let's watch the clip together. Here it is. I hope it works. Yeah. Beautiful pictures from NASA, but you may not go too slow, otherwise the future is absolutely out of your hands. But slow is the new fast, I've been told. So it's about the future. I'm going to give you some guesstimates. It's also about cathedral building. In my beautiful place, Antwerp, you have to visit Antwerp, beautiful. It's #1 place for diamonds and very good chocolate, etc., etc. But there was this cathedral built in the 15th century, and I was thinking the ones who ordered for a cathedral in the 15th century, they were, well, in this case it was a mayor from Antwerp and a Burgundy duke. They had the money. And they put the money on the table and asked the builders and the architects, etc., etc. So, build me a cathedral, or build God a cathedral, and give the society the possibility to enter the cathedral and to pray and to do things. And it was in the 15th century, and the money was put on table. And it was very interesting to understand now that the ones who paid for the money were the mayor and the Burgundy duke and some Maecenas, yes. They put the money on the table, and they were absolutely, at that time, in the 15th century, aware that nor themselves, nor their children, nor their grandchildren, nor their grandchildren would be part of the housewarming party of that cathedral. Because they knew at that time it would last for 120, 150, well, it took 170 years. The Duomo in Milan, well, it took 500 years. The Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, well, it will be open in 2026 after 145 years. So a cathedral is a very long-term thing. And we have to think in terms of cathedral, not short-term, like we absolutely know in 2008 when the banks fell down, we know at that time that the short-term thinking had a problem. It was greed, short-term thinking, instant gratification. What we see now, and not in 2008 or 2009 or 2010, but since 2012-13, business leaders and consumers are more and more likely to think in terms of the longer term. Long-term cathedral thinking gets more and more attention, not only by consumers, but also by business leaders. And this is interesting, of course. This is what we call cathedral challenging. It is not about what happens next. Don't ask what happens next, but ask yourself what happens after what comes next. What's the next thing? What's not there today or tomorrow, but what happens the day after tomorrow? And believe me, this works. It's very interesting to think ahead in the longer term, in the longer future. Well, this is cathedral challenging. Father Konings, Father Herman, was speaking to you from his cathedral. Now, next slide, and hopefully it doesn't work like it should work. It's very slow. Antwerp. In Antwerp, it's his little history. In Antwerp, this is a beautiful painting. If you visit Antwerp, I'm not paid by the tourist office of Antwerp, but you can visit also a beautiful museum, the Museum Meyer van den Berg. It's a very small museum with a beautiful picture painted by Pieter Bruegel the Old. Bruegel was a student of Hieronymus Bosch, Bosch, not the vacuum cleaners, but the Bosch was having also these visionary creatures, very strange persons and creatures on his paintings. But Pieter Bruegel, the Old One, used some inspiration. Well, he was inspired by Bosch, and he painted this picture. And the picture is named Mad Mag. In Dutch, de Dolle Griet. This is Dutch, Mad Mag. And in the 15th century, in the 16th century, this is from 1562. Painting is 1562. And you have Mad Mag with all kinds of fast-moving consumer goods in her what do you call it, a bag. And a very visionary painting, if you ask me, in the 16th century. I think this picture is all about the 21st century, about 2016. Not only Mad Mag, the women, of course, are the most fearless people on earth. She is absolutely trying to conquer the hell. This is the mouth of the hell. But also, if you look behind her, all kinds of women are slaughtering men This is very visionary, I think. Women are slaughtering men. But it's not about Mad Mag or about women slaughtering men that is intriguing, but this painting has also the consumer AD 2016 on the painting. And it is this little creature. There's something wrong with my connection with the ground. Don't know why it doesn't work properly. Maybe, sorry, I'm going to swap. Maybe I'm going to swap the system here. Yeah. So have you noticed the creature, the consumer of today? Hopefully it works now. Ah, there it is. This is a creature of today. I can blow it up for you, more or less. But if you absolutely painted in 1562 by Pieter Bruegel, the old one, I've noticed this is the consumer of today. And why is he or she the consumer of today? Because it's a he or a she. It's a transgender, if you ask me. More than that, his head is upside down. And he has a lot of FUD in the eyes. You know, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We are in times of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The eyes are absolutely wondering what's all about, what is going on in the world. And it's, of course, a hipster. Very clear. A hipster with a beard and a tail. And a male or female or she-male bun also on that. And it's absolutely 1562. It's this little creature. It's absolutely interesting. But the most important thing, of course, are two things making this creature, this person, whatever, as the consumer of today, is he or she is doubting between, on the one hand, the hipster cereal bowl, you have to pay 12 pound for it, and on the other hand, of course, with this very analogous craft stuff, you know, this very artisanal stuff, on the one hand, and on the other hand, if you see it down, Zalando, the website shoes you can buy. And it's she or he is torn between the choice between the digital and the analogous stuff. But most important is, of course, in the middle, in the center. The mouth is the anus, or the anus is the mouth. And he or she is eating, more or less. But he has no, or she has no time. This is what the painting is all about. There is no time to digest. And we consumers don't have the time to digest. And I have some facts for you. We know by all kinds of studies, maybe also your kind of studies, that also for Britain, certainly for Belgium, Holland, France, and Germany, the average consumer of today has lost 7 hours of free spendable time per week compared to 25 years ago. So if you compare the consumer of today with the consumer of 1991, 25 years ago, one generation before this generation, you see the average working professional, not all the consumers, but the working person, male or female, in Britain, between, let's say, 20 and 60 years of age, today compared to 25 years ago, he or she today has lost 7 hours of free spendable time per week, which is 12 to 13 full 24-hour days a year, not having the time to do some private stuff. And why is that? Well, in 25 years, we see a total turnover, a total swapping of the number of the percentage of people working in the service and knowledge economy. In 1991, 40% of the Brits were working, like you and I, in the knowledge and service economy. And 60% in 1991 were working with hands, doing simple jobs, doing some farming jobs, for instance, not working in the knowledge and service economy. Today, 25 years later, it's the opposite. 60% of all active people, working people, are now working, like you and I, in the knowledge and service economy. And only 40% is working with their hands, etc. So if you're working with your mind, with your brain, thinking or servicing, you are not working between 9 and 5, but between 5 and 9, for instance. You're working longer than you should, for instance. You're stuck in the traffic jams. The traffic jam, the congestion time has doubled the last 10 years. You have to network to stay longer than 5, believe me, you're staying here longer than 5 p.m. You have to network and you have to work longer and the laptop goes with you at home and you're working at home, etc., etc. You're losing time. It's calculated 7 hours at average for all active Brits today compared to 25 years ago. And therefore there is no time left to digest. We have to eat very fast and work very fast and to multitask. I'm a psychologist by education, don't be afraid. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm not into the deviant minds of people. I'm into changing minds of people. And we know if you don't have the time, you have to speed up and your stress level is up. And you have FUD in your ears. And there is no time to digest. And this is what is so visionary about Pieter Bruegel, the old one. Not a retarded Belgian, if you ask me. It was a Belgian painter. Okay, so let's go for some trends. You know the consumer of today, the hipster, totally upside down, a he or a she male. Trying to figure out, is the digital or the analogous interesting? Well, both is interesting. It's not about digital or analogous, it's about the phygital. It's the physical and the digital at the same time. But let's talk about boomers and yogurt. Now, I've been telling you 7 hours less free spendable time per week. Free spendable hours per week compared to 25 years ago. This cross I've made 10 years ago, and I used it for 3 years, and I put it in the fridge, and since 2 years I reuse it again because it's so relevant for today, and also for you and for Great Britain, for instance, or for, let's say, Europe. It's about money and time. Having money, having time, having no money, having no time. And then you can perfectly put 4 kinds of people on this diagram. Now, down, the people older than 75. People born before the Second World War, born before 1940, having all the time of the world. Well, private time, maybe they are into the care of their partners or other people. But they have all the time of the world. They don't have to give the time to their employer or to a client. They are retired people. But no money. No money because they, well, men and women, only one income, normally, regularly, per family. And the earnings weren't that high like it is today, because most of the people now older than 75 weren't working in their working time in the knowledge and service economy. They earn that much money. But also, not a lot of money, they are not likely to spend the money. Which is interesting. Your grandparents, older than 75, most of you are younger than, who is younger than 45? Who is here younger than 45? Most of you. Who is older than who is older than 45? I have good news for the ones older than 45. Congratulations for the ones older than 45. You're near to the baby boom generation. If you're younger than 45, you have a problem, believe me. I'm going to explain that later on, but older than 75, most of you younger than 45 have grandparents older than 75. And they know about the war. They know about scarcity. They know about having no money. They know about fear. And up to date, they are absolutely not likely to spend a lot of money, which is good news for your parents, people older than 45. Our parents, they hold the money because you haven't been experiencing the war. We did. We have to hold the money. Maybe for the next war, we have to have some money left. And if they die, they are not likely to spend a lot of money. They are very economic. And once they die, the money goes linea recta to the baby boom generation. The ones older than 50, maybe older than 45. Our parents are likely to give the money to us, a lot of money. But our generation, and the oldest ones are here between 60 and 75, these are the oldest baby boomers and what we call the prototype baby boomers, the ones born in the Second World War. We didn't experience the war. We are absolutely not aware of the impact of the war. We are the sex, drugs and rock and roll generation. Well, the sex prescription drugs and rock and roll generation, to be honest. And once, well, the oldest baby boomers are retired, certainly in Belgium, you know. Not UK, but Belgium is together with France and Portugal, European record holder in short careers. At, believe me, at 59, effectively, average 59, we retire. You, effectively, at 62.5, effectively. So we have 3.5 year more retirement than you have. But people ask me, don't you have to listen to Brussels? We live in Belgium, you know. We have Brussels 1,000 years as our capital. We never listen to Brussels. And it works perfectly. And we retired 59. And once retired, a lot of baby boomers retired now are spending. And this is new. For the first time in history, we see a generation now younger than 75, between 60 and 75. Most of the people between 60 and 75 in Belgium are retired. And what we saw the last 10 years is that these people are spending the money. The people are known as the generation ski. Do you know the generation ski? This is the first generation on skis in the Alps. But ski means spending their kids' inheritance. And therefore, my condolences to all you younger than 45. Your parents are likely, once they're retired, to spend the money. They have a lot of money though, because they have here a lot of money, two income. First generation of two incomes of a middle class or upper class, of course. We had in the 1910s and 20s, we had a lot of people, the whole families working very hard, but only to meet up ends, you know, to stay alive in a way. Now we have the middle class and upper class people here, 60 up to 75 years of age, double income. They have had the new economy in their back. You know, the new economy, 13th month or 14th month, group insurances, higher level educations, etc., etc. Your parents are now starting to retire, or maybe they are retired, and they are spending a lot. So I ask you, even this evening if possible, go to your parents and try to financially strip them down today, because within 20 years, nothing left for you, believe me. Because they didn't live through the war. They are likely to spend a lot of money. Not so good news for you. Well, good news. You can say, well, my parents have double income. Well, there is, I know the figure. It's 2.5 times more money to spend for someone 60 years of age. 2.5 times more money to spend for someone 60 of age compared to the ones 60 of age 20 years ago. The previous generation. 2.5 times more money to spend. Double income, etc., etc. And so you could say, okay, but my parents were baby boomers, so they had a lot of siblings, you know, 2 brothers and 3 sisters, whatever. I am a baby buster. The ones born since 1965 are busters, born in the baby bust. Less and less babies were born since 1965, also here. So I have only 1 sister or 1 brother, and my parents have 2.5 times more money to spend, so let them spend. That will be enough for me when they die. There's a small problem. Your parents, thanks to the life expectancy going up and up and up, will die 7 years later than your grandparents. So you have to wait 7 years longer before you can cash. Not a lot of money to be left for you, I hope. Well, I hope for you, of course. 60s up to 75, a lot of money, a lot of time. They are retired now. And they are spending, which is good news for the economy. On the left side, you have between 45 and 60, the younger baby boomers. Well, you are a baby boomer if you're born between 1945 and 65. I'm from 64, so I'm a genuine baby boomer. But we also have taken into our community the ones between 45 and 50, because they have 20, 25 years of experience being professional. And they could have hired or bought a dwelling 20 years ago, and that dwelling is now paid off, etc., etc. They are more or like, in their way of consumption, more like the real baby boomers, the ones older than 50. Now, between 45 and 60 years of age, these baby boomers, the younger baby boomers, are still working hard in the knowledge, more and more in the knowledge and service economy. So there is no time, but there is more money. Not that much money as the ones between 60 and 75 years of age, but still. And the ones, of course, the problematic generation is younger than 45. Left down. Younger than 45, no money, no time. No money, how is it possible? We have even higher degrees. We have higher degrees. We're working even harder in the service and knowledge economy. We earn more than the previous generation. That's true. But you have to pay today twice as much for a personal dwelling compared to 10 years ago. And between 30 and 45 years of age, you have the highest percentages of divorced people. The highest percentages are the ones between 30 and 45 years of age. And if you're divorced, it costs a lot of money, of course. And a lot of these people are working and living in cities. And believe me, working and living in cities costs a lot of money. So there is a problem here. Less money, less time, because working in the service and knowledge economy. So what are the focal points? Healthcare, if you're older than 75, logically. From 75 on, you start to have problems of gerontological and geriatric kind. 75. But the baby boomers, now between 60 and 75, they have little physical problems at average, but they are retired. And they know about having money and wanting to spend the money. This is the first, what we call, and you know very good, this is the first symbolic consumption generation. Consuming symbols like brands, logos, packaging, design, etc., etc. These guys, the first sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the first seduction generation, the first pop culture generation. Once retired, they are spending a lot of money. Believe me, they have 45 hours extra free spendable time. And they will spend it. They don't go like their parents once or twice a year on a vacation, but 6 times a year on a vacation. So they are likely to spend. So there it's wealth care. What to do with the wealth of time and what to do with the wealth of money. That is their concern. On the left side, it's not wealth care, but well care. Once 45, I'm a psychologist. Once 45 or 40 even, you have your burnout, believe me, your midlife crisis. It's there for you. So at that point, you start to want to go to a wellness farm. You're doubting between mindfulness and mindlessness. What? You're going to a wellness farm or to a kind of church to feel the silence or to do some yoga, etc., etc. Typical wellness, well-being. So it's about health care, wealth care, well care. It's logically that for the youngsters, it's hell care. What to do with the hell I'm in, younger than 45. And then you can connect these age groups with generations. The ones older than 75 are the silent generation. The ones between 60 and 75 are the generation of the master boomers. The baby boomers deluxe, in a way. Then you have the baby bloomers, the blooming baby boomers. And in the end, younger than 45, you have the baby busters, born in the bust of the generations. And this is Europe. This is also your country. It's always the same, you know that. The demography, in the middle, a lot of people, the boomers. Then you have a decline of the number of people down, where the baby busters are. The baby busters have children, known as the digital aboriginals. Don't talk about digital natives anymore. The digital natives are known not as digital natives, but as the connected natives. The first connected generation, not the first digital generation. The first digital generation is not 18 or 25. The first digital generation is younger than 15. It's the first generation being confronted with a tablet or a laptop even or a smartphone when they were 1 year, even when they were 6 months old. The digital aboriginals, also known as the generation ADHD. And ADHD means any device head down and swipe, swipe, swipe. Always head down, tablet neck as a consequence. The generation digital aboriginals, the first real digital generation. The generation baby busters consist out of two groups. The older baby busters, ones between 30 and 45, is the most sorrowful generation, also known as the generation prime busters, or the generation just not. They just not. It doesn't work. They have just not enough money, just not enough time to do the things they want to buy or to do. Why 30 up? Because the average age to start a family also in this country is around 30. And then responsibility starts. Not for the youngsters, the baby busters of the younger kind between 15 and 30, the millennials, the generation Y. They have studied, of course, but they have all the time of the world. They have well, maybe they have a friend or a girlfriend, boyfriend, still staying at home, you know. A lot of people are staying, boomerangers, first as a boomerang going to college or university and as a boomerang coming back to their parents' place. And their parents are baby boomers, and baby boomers are scared of growing old. If someone 25 years old is saying to ma or pa, I'm leaving this place, their parents got, well, a little bit disturbed. Oh, don't leave, otherwise you let me feel old. Stay here. But I have a girlfriend, ma. She can stay in your bed under my roof. Which wasn't the case in my generation. But it's now the case. The baby boomers are likely to give everything for you. They do the dishes for you. They wash for you. And you can stay in their houses. You can talk about pop culture, about sex, about politics. Everything is possible. But don't leave me. So this is a very good advice. Stay with your parents for a few years. We've calculated it 7 years ago. It's maybe old, but now calculated an average, what we call kipper. A kipper is a kid in parents' pockets eroding retirement savings. Someone who is a boomeranger staying at home. After 2 years, and they don't have to pay, and they may eat, and the dishes and the washes are done for them, you can earn up to 15,000 pond. Well, earn passively, of course. You don't have to spend the money. It's for you there. So stay at home, like a lot of millennials do. The problems start at around 30, when you have to be responsible for your family and when you buy a house. It costs a lot of money, of course. So this is, you see, what happened here, the baby boom, a lot of babies were born, 20% more people, so it's a large number of people now into the retirement zone, which is interesting for economy. And now you think, oh no, we have to think in terms of senior marketing. Don't try to give someone around 50 or 60 years of age the name of a senior, of an older one. If you want to reach a 50 or 60 something, try to see him or her like a 30 something. You know what is said about the baby bloomers and the master boomers? These are people who want to die young, but as late as possible. So treat them as youngsters. So don't think in terms of senior marketing. It doesn't work that way. What happened here? Well, it was a Belgian doctor in the 1960s there was a Belgian doctor who was responsible for the decline of the number of births throughout the Western world. Dr. Peters, he invented the contraceptive pill in the 1960s, with all the consequences, of course. Less and less babies were born. And we have now a small downside and a rather fat middle side of the demographic curve. So let's look to some generations. Let's look for the master boomers. And the master boomers are the first symbolic consumption generation. A competitive generation. Boomers are very competitive. The youngsters, the children of the boomers are not competitive but collaborative. You know that, the collaborative generation. Now the baby boomers have see the possibilities of the internet, of online gaming. They start now online gaming. And they want to be better than their colleagues or their children or even their mothers-in-law. It's very competitive, baby boomers. Their children, the 20-somethings or the 30-somethings, are not into competitive online gaming, but in Multiplayer online gaming. I'm trying to, here in London, together with someone in Antwerp and in Zurich and in Johannesburg and in Hanoi, together we try not to beat each other, but together to get the next level, which is interesting. It's more collaborative, cooperative mindset. They are now master boomers. They start with the honeymoon years. These 4 or 5 years after retirement are like a honeymoon. For 4 or 5 years, they are absolutely doing the stuff they wanted to do. This is delay enjoyment, delay pleasures. You know, we couldn't enjoy ourselves because we were working very hard, but now we are going to enjoy honeymoon years. And then we have also the baby bloomers, the blooming baby boomers, to die young but as late as possible. Well, we're working for BMW in Belgium, France, and Holland. And BMW has created this beautiful car. It's a typical silver line car. It's the BMW 2, also known as the Active Tourer. Active Tourer. It's a silver line car. It's meant for people older than 50 years. It's a middle class car. You know, a lot of people, middle class people, 50 or older, have a lot of money. And now more and more they want to have a BMW because it has status. Middle class wants upper class behavior, upper mass, you know, upper mass. And therefore BMW have invented this 3-4 years ago. And it is the best-selling BMW of the last 10 years. A lot of baby boomers are buying this stuff. And the very funny thing is that the engineers working on this BMW, they thought, well, let's name this car. It's typical engineers. They don't know marketing. Let's name this car, the engineers said. Let's name this car the BMW 50 Plus. But it doesn't work that way. No one will buy a BMW 50 Plus, but well, the 50-somethings are buying the Active Tourer, which is adventurous. Aha, an adventurous car. The BMW Active Tourer. And this is absolutely interesting. They buy it because it's an adventurous car. You know, a lot of 50-something men, what do men of around 50 do? They buy themselves a bike to climb up the Mont Ventoux, for instance. Congratulations with Froome, in a way. Belgians are very emotional about biking. So, but a lot of 50-somethings are buying bikes to climb up the Mont Ventoux. And the Mont Ventoux, well, you have to climb first. You have to put the bike on your car. But if you're 30 or 20, it's no problem to sit on your knees and to have this, you know, this constellation on the rear end of your car and then to put the bikes on. But if you're 50, I'm 52, I feel it. Then you have lower back pains and your knees are a little bit shaky and it's difficult. And therefore, BMW knows exactly how to reach this generation. They have created a sliding system inside the rear end of the car. The only thing you have to do is to put up slightly your bike and to slide it inside the car. And it works perfectly. So, on the one hand, generationally, you have the design for 30-somethings. But on the other hand, demographically, they know about the problems of the lower back and of the knees of the baby boomers. In fact, this is a service flat on 4 wheels for the baby boom generation. You have to say that. And this is also the baby boom generation. We're working for 2 chains of hospitality, the IHG group, the Holiday Inn group, and Accor hotels. And we've seen this beautiful hotel opened in Frankfurt in the beginning of this year. It's the Libertine Lindenberg Hotel in Frankfurt. This is a baby boom hotel. With a lot of references, of course, to the 60s and the 70s. Wow, the baby boomers love this kind of... You know, the oldest baby boomer is equally old as Paul McCartney or Mick Jagger. Believe that. So this is typical for that hotel. But also this, and this is typical baby boomer. This hotel is a 5-star hotel. Well, it looks like a 5-star hotel, but this is what it says. Never trust these hotel classifications. This is humor, and baby boomers can enjoy this kind of humor. This is what we call neo-nonsense. The baby boomers are not into no-nonsense. The no-nonsense generation is now older than 75. It's a pre-war generation. The baby boomers are into neo-nonsense. You can laugh with them. They laugh with themselves. So very interesting to understand this. But also this is the most interesting slide I've been seeing in a seminar at IBM now a year and a half ago. IBM is stating, research done by Sima Nadler, IBM researcher, in 5 years buying local will be, well, it's absolutely a typical yawn. It's an expression by baby boomer. Getting the attention, but you're not a baby boomer, so you're the grandchild of a baby. In 5 years, buying local will beat online. Was said by IBM. This is interesting. And last month I got a message from a colleague at Google in the United States. June 2016, in 2020, over 85% of sales will still be made offline, but nearly all will be influenced by the digital. It's all about the impact of the digital in stores. I'm not a believer of Pokemon Go bringing people into stores. It doesn't work that way. But there is something absolutely correct about this saying that in 5 years buying local will beat online. Now IBM is saying, well, we see now of course a decline of the number of physical stores until 2020, and then we see a climbing up. A renaissance of the mortar and brick store. We see now here and there a flat line in terms of online buying. Interesting. And we will see an offline curve going up. Why is that? Well, first, very interesting explanation is what I said to you earlier. The baby boomers are now, also in your country, massively. There's a large number of people with a lot of money and an open mentality, likely to spend money. They are now going to retire and to have 45 hours extra free spendable time. And these baby boomers are absolutely likely to go to so-called yogurt cities. Now, London is a yogurt city, but Antwerp is also a yogurt city. And even small cities are yogurt cities. A yogurt city is a city like yogurt with an active culture, where you have everything, where you're shopping, hospitality, events, festivals, name it, terraces. A lot of baby boomers are likely not to stay in the pre-urban or in the rural environment like their parents, but they are likely to come to cities. They have the money to buy a loft or a small apartment, a studio in a city, and to enjoy the city, which means they will, why, if you have all the time of the world, if you have 45 hours extra free spendable time when you're retired, why sit behind your laptop or tablet and buy online when you can go out to buy in stores, when you can meet up people? And these stores are small musea, you know, with all kinds of events, etc., etc. The term is yogurt cities, and the baby boomers are there to make it happen, to make the mortar and brick store attractive again. Now, IBM is saying, well, it's also because digital technology. Oh, sorry. The digital technology is also being placed inside brick and mortar or mortar and brick stores. So for the baby busters, once without the time, they don't have to lose time anymore. Let's have a look.
As a shopper begins to browse, she'll find the Rebecca Minkoff store is a physical manifestation of all the best parts of the online experience. The connected wall, a beautiful large mirrored display, shows the latest Rebecca Minkoff brand content, runway shows, photos, and anything happening on the social channels. By pressing the mirror, she initiates an interactive experience where she can browse the latest looks, find products she likes, even request a fitting room. She can order drinks and download the mobile app directly from the mirror. And by pressing Send to My Room, our shopper can initiate a one-on-one,
etc., etc. It gives you time back. A lot of youngsters are not going to stores because they lose time. There is no time anymore. But Rebecca Minkoff gives also the possibility to reserve your fitting room, which is interesting. If you have the Saturday afternoon because you're working very hard on between Monday and Friday, if you only have the Saturday afternoon left, you have the possibility to reserve without obligations a fitting room. Hey, I'm coming with my friends Saturday afternoon between 3 and 3:30. And I want this and this and this from your new collection already be there. In this size, and in these colors and with these accessories. And this is working since 1 year now for Gap and Banana Republic in the United States. They have this reserve in store procedure. You can not order, but reserve without obligations your fitting room online. You can browse in their new collection and ask, let me see this and this and this kind of clothing, and I will fit in it. If you go on a Saturday evening or afternoon to a store and you see some beautiful piece of clothing, and you try that piece of clothing and it doesn't fit, and there is no larger or smaller size, you hear, well, you have to come back next week, but you don't have the time to come back next week. Now you're absolutely assured that the piece you want to fit is in your size, and a larger and a smaller size. So this will give time back. And this is what will attract people to come over to stores again. I've 15 minutes left. I'm going to rush up. No time. The Internet of Me. A little clip. I'm showing you 30 seconds of a clip. That's a...
Yes, hello. What? My heart is racing. Wouldn't know why. Taking a bit of a breather, actually. No, everything's just fine.
The wife?
Just my doctor.
Oh, your pulse alarm gone off again. You lusty old man, you.
The reason I'm showing you this clip, it was sent to me by a client in a brown envelope in 2002. This clip is from 2002. You wouldn't know it because these people, older people, wearing the same stuff even today, maybe if they are still alive. But it's from 2002. What happened with the smartwatch? Why did we have to wait for 14, 13 or 12 years? It's not from yesterday, it's from 2002 by Siemens. This was a concept. And it took 12 years to become more or less not popular. That's not popular. But still, we know the idea of the smartwatch. The Internet of Me. This is an interesting idea, of course. It's not the Internet of Things only, which is now the buzzword. It's becoming the Internet of Me. Everything is connected on our bodies, or maybe inside our bodies. And this is the way Google let us pay in the future. Well, in the future, this is already working in the United States.
Sorry.
Nope, didn't work. Wait for mommy, hang on.
3, 4.
Hit cancel. Here's your change. Sorry. I like to pay with Google. Okay, Melanie. You're all set. Thank you.
So that's it. The only thing you have to say, I want to pay with Google. Your voice is recognized, and the system knows, has a picture of you, and the cashier can make the resemblance between you and the picture. So that's it. You have paid. This is the Internet of Me. Everything. Interesting for the baby busters, the prime busters having no time. Now they have more time left because technology is giving them time. Like also the self-driving car will give time back. You're stuck in your car now, you have to be attentive. But now, within a few years, you can drive back home and you can work. So you have time left at 6:30 or at 7 in the evening to have a little bit of time left to play with your children and talk to your wife or to your husband. Or talk to your children and play with your wife or your husband. It's also important. So giving time, and this is very ideal for also mortar and brick stores. Now a big problem is more and more cars, there is no parking spot left. and you drive around and around because you want to go inside that beautiful bookstore, but you don't. You want to feel the book or to smell it. And you drive and you don't find a parking spot. So you drive back home and you order by Amazon, for instance. But now with a self-driving car, you can say to the car, stop here, let me out, and go drink something at this gas station and come pick me up again. You will have time left. Therefore, technology is there to give analogy new chances. Thanks to technology, we will have more and more attention, and we're becoming more and more intrigued by the analogous. 20-somethings and 30-somethings, the youngsters are intrigued by the analogous. Who is the generation buying vinyl records these days? Well, these are the 20-somethings, not the 50-somethings. Who are driving the food trucks? Who are the hipsters? 20 and 30-somethings, not the 50-somethings. The 50-somethings now they know about streaming. They don't buy CDs anymore. Now they are into iTunes, maybe Spotify. And the youngsters, well, they buy more and more vinyl records. Interesting evolution. The prime busters here, generation gap, also in the flexistentials, you have to be flexible to exist, to survive. Meaning is a new currency. The generation just not. And then, of course, the millennials, the ones between 15 and 30 years of age. The millennials. Well, what was so interesting and intriguing at the about the millennials is their more cooperative mindset, not competitive, but collaborative. The sharing idea, sharing and caring. You know that. I don't have to explain that to you. And we see these kinds of workstations all around the globe, where youngsters are gathering in a non-digital way. They are absolutely into the analog. You find your colleagues, your peers in a physical way. We work, but not only we work, we have also in Amsterdam, I'm working for the group behind Citizen M, you know, Citizen M hotels. They have opened 2 months ago the Zoku Hotel. Zoku is an hotel for youngsters, for millennials. If you want to team up with someone in another country or another city, you can go to that other city and say, hey, I want to work with you. We can talk, of course, in a virtual way and in a digital way, but let's meet up in a physical way. I'm staying at the Zoku, and in the Zoku I have a hotel room, and the hotel rooms in the Zoku are modular hotel rooms. You can easily swap your bedroom into an office. Instead of meeting up in a traditional bar, you know, coffee bar, a co-working space where everyone is working and you listen, of course, you have to listen to everyone. You can ask someone to come inside your office in your hotel. So you can meet with someone inside your hotel. And if that person is very attractive, you can easily swap from the office into the bedroom again. But this works. In Brussels 2 months ago, the first Radisson Red opened. This is the first millennial hotel, where the general manager isn't a general manager, but is the curator of that hotel, where the people aren't selected out of hospitality management schools, but by using social media. Not wanting a degree and knowing what you have reached in a school, but who you are is important. The Radisson Red Hotel, and this is Accor. The CEO of Accor Hotel, Sébastien Bazin, literally says 7 women and 6 men of Generation Y will constitute a shadow comex and breathe new life into our management. This is interesting. Boards of directors are mostly people older than 40, 50, baby boomers. Now they absolutely have 13 people, 7 women and 6 men, younger than 30 years, into their board of their management board, to think like the millennials think. The millennials are thasophobic. I'm a psychologist. You know thasophobia? Thasophobia is the fear of being bored, the fear of predictability. Youngsters don't like predictability. And I can ask you this question. Who are more likely to follow computer or smartphone enhanced travel or city trip endorsements? So endorsements, ideas on a smartphone or a tablet. Who are likely to follow it? Are these the Generation Y people younger than 30 or the baby boomers older than 45? Who do you think? Who's more likely to follow these kind of... The boomers, indeed. You say, oh, no, tablets and smartphones is for the Generation Y. No, the Generation Y is not likely to follow these kind of endorsements because it's predictable. They don't want that kind of predictability. They go to Airbnb to be taken out by a local person, not following instructions on a smartphone or in a guide. It's all about unpredictability, the surprise. This generation is a non-prediction or predictability generation. And I have a clip for you made by Heineken to explain the thasophobic mentality or mindset of the Generation Y.
What's your management style?
Passionate. Passion.
And what's your biggest weakness?
Being stubborn. Stubborn, I think.
Okay, give me one reason why I should hire you.
Because sports is my passion.
I'm really passionate about football.
Really like a football.
When you are looking for a job for an interview,
Teeth are brushed.
You look good, you feel good.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
Pinsen on that out.
Okay, Reens. Okay. And so you liked it when we were walking hand in hand?
It made me feel comfortable, yes.
Oh, interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your time, I suppose.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
bye.
Ross, have a very nice weekend.
Thank you.
Sir, are you sure?
I'm fine. I'll get a little water in a second.
Okay, you say no?
Stay like this.
If we're talking about money, how much money do you think you would like to have for the position? Last time this happened was at a disco.
The disco day?
Fire and passion or cold and calculated?
I would say cold and calculated because...
Wrong answer.
Fire and passion. Other people get infected by my enthusiasm.
You think I'm getting infected right now?
We need to go. Come, Simon, Mr. Ross.
Okay.
Please. Come on, we need to get going.
missing a hand here. Can you help us, please? Can you help us, please?
There's a fire or something.
We have a gap here, sir. Take this one. Hold your weight back. Okay, he's okay. Okay.
It's Dutch beer, which is awful, of course. For Belgium, it's very tragic. But this is real because I know his ex-girlfriend. Guy Luchting is a Dutch boy, and it's absolutely the way he was selected. So it's about the non-predictability. It's about serendipity, and more youngsters and millennials are into serendipity. Serendipity is finding the stuff you're not looking for. Serendipity, I've written in my latest book in Dutch language that serendipity is looking for the needle in a haystack, and some minutes later to come out of that haystack with the beautiful farmer's daughter. This is serendipity, finding we're not looking for. And this is working. This is the new stand in New York since this year. The first opened in the subway in New York, where you'll find every week other stuff you you're not looking for. Not traditional journals and tobacco, but stuff you're not looking for. But every week new stuff, and maybe you find something. Serendipity. Or this is the signature dish of the best restaurant in the world since a few months. Osteria Francescana is the best restaurant in the world. It's no longer El Bulli or Noma or El Celer de la Rocca, but it is Osteria Francescana in Modena. And they have this is absolutely their number one dish, called Oops, I Dropped the Lemon Pie, which is a serendipity dish. It literally, it was for the first time, it was like that. There was a waiter who fell with a lemon pie, and this was the effect. And so the chef was saying, we have to do this often. It's beautiful. It's serendipity. To conclude, I know I'm for the same price. It's for the same price. I'm not having a taxi. Authenticity. Everyone is talking about authenticity. But now we are entering the era of the post-authenticity. Authenticity is becoming very predictable, isn't it? The hipster, like this is Belgium. In Holland and Belgium, we have this Danone, the yogurts of Danone. This Danio advertising in the streets and on television and in newspapers with a hipster, bearded hipster person. And there was a lot of booing. This is not correct. How is it possible? A hipster having his head for advertisement, for making an advertisement for Danone. A hipster is someone into craftsmanship, in all these terms, these words like crafted and curated and disruptive and organic, etc., etc. So this is absolutely, it was on social media a no-go in Belgium and Holland. And look here, last year, Häagen-Dazs in the United States. Let's have a small...
No shortcuts, no compromises, no matter what. These are the artisan values that Häagen-Dazs has been committed
And listen to the lexicon. Curated,
that led us to the
makers, artisan.
We set out to work with those who shared that
Sharing.
and, like us, crafted their creation.
Crafted. Care.
A
Collaboration.
Together we created 6 new flavors.
And they created Häagen-Dazs Artisan Collection. And very interesting. Let's look to the end of the clip.
Sharing a celebratory suite. Introducing the Häagen-Dazs Artisan Collection. The work of 6 unique artisans, together with Häagen-Dazs ice cream. Available nationwide.
Available nationwide. Wide. Artisan collection available nationwide. How can you make an artisan chocolate or ice cream made by Häagen-Dazs available nationwide? It doesn't work that way. It's absolutely the long nose to the tradition of the hipster. The hipster now is recovered by the industry, and more people having problems with it. This is the reaction of Belgium. We are working for McDonald's in Belgium and Holland. In the United States last year, you could buy a organic hamburger. McDonald's thought, well, we make an organic hamburger. It's very hipster-like. The reaction on Twitter and Facebook was absolutely there. People were absolutely appalled. How is it possible, you McDonald's, you're saying that you want to be authentic, no, truthful, authentic. If you want to be authentic, say to the people that you are a superior manufacturer of guilty pleasures. This is authenticity, not organic. You know, some of your colleagues of Mintel have researched in the United States and in Europe on the word organic. What does that mean? And you know, you only may use organic when it is justified, when it is legitimate. You have to have the fiat. You know, you have to ask the authorities to use the word organic. Consumers don't know that, and the consumer now, in 50% of the cases, 1 in 2 consumers are saying organic is only an excuse for asking more money for your product. So there is a problem. And Holland and Belgium have learned from this. And they started a few months ago with the Generous Jack. This is absolutely a hard-selling product in Holland and Belgium. It's a fat, guilty pleasure, traditional hamburger, a lot of fat. And this will work because it's authentic. This is the real authenticity. And to close, we are absolutely at the end, close to closing. A lot of information about boomers and yogurt cities, about self-driving cars, baby busters, post-authenticity. If you want to be authentic, become skilled in the radical transparency. Let people show what you want to sell. Instead of TripAdvisor, no one understands TripAdvisor because it's mostly written or scripted or whatever. But there is a new site. I lost the name. But the site only gives you as a consumer a platform for the rest on your website if you film what you have seen in your hotel. Not if you write about it, because it's not radical transparency, but if you film it, then you are honest or authentic. To close, absolutely within 2 minutes it's gone. You may have your drinks, etc., etc. But I have a Belgian clip. Aha! Belgians are good. Are not retarded people. Absolutely not. The Belgian clip. It's about. It's good feeling. It's about cancer. It's about FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's a beautiful clip. 20 people with terminal cancer in Belgium and in France. It's a Belgian foundation who have filmed these people and to give them joy. And I want to show that to open the weekend for you. And let's have a look at the clip. It's French, but it's subtitled in English.
Ça fait 2 ans et demi que je suis dans la maladie. Et le problème, c'est que je ne suis pas guérissable. Donc ça, c'est dur à accepter.
Ça a commencé l'année passée au mois d'octobre, quand les résultats sont tombés. Donc j'ai fait un cancer foudroyant du poumon. On vit quand même toujours avec une épée de Damoclès sur la tête. Et on ne peut pas s'empêcher de ne pas y penser.
On perd l'insouciance complètement quand on apprend qu'on est malade. Surtout que moi, j'étais très insouciante de la vie. Je la croquais à pleines dents. Enfin, j'aimerais tellement la croquer comme avant. Pour l'instant, c'est pas possible.
So, and I'm at the end of my presentation. If only for ne serait-ce qu'une seconde, we Belgians, we have two languages, so it was the French part of Belgium who has made this possible, if only for 1 second, to enjoy life in fear and uncertainty and doubtful times. The guilty pleasure is also there. Analogous emotions are there, very important in times of bits and bytes. And I'm at the end of my presentation. Sorry for the 12 minutes delay. Beautiful saying to stop, and the story continues once the book closes, by media philosopher Marshall McLuhan, to end up. And I wish you a perfect future and a perfect weekend. Thank you very much for your attention.